Hey, thanks for clicking on the button. Please, if you have not subscribed, please do like us, share us with your friends. Today, I did a really great podcast with Kellee Laser. We talked about her new project over the last couple of years of the Lookbook, the evolution of her photography from pulling out of classes of photography because she was failing in them to being such an awesome success here in Northwest Ohio. We talked about her attitude. We talked about her confidence and like even her commuting back and forth between California and Toledo to make this thing happen. And also for anybody that was curious, I actually did have hair at one point. So this was a picture that she took, I think it would be like 12 years ago. So a lot of fun. Thanks again. Share us with your friends. This is a good one, guys.
Y'all ready for this?
Welcome to the DeVerna podcast, where we talk about business, life, and how to win at both.
Oh, we're all good.
We're good.
On this point. So how long ago would that have been?
This is my 2-year anniversary coming up.
So 2-year anniversary with
The Lookbook.
Lookbook.
Yes.
How
Yes.
long ago did you start taking pictures like on a...
14 years ago.
14 years ago.
You were one of my first clients.
So 14 years ago, you started taking pictures. And
Yes.
what like inspired that?
Well, I was a mom, and, Christmas cards in this area are a little competitive amongst mothers. And so, yeah,
For
they
sure.
are.
Yeah.
And so I had always taken pictures of my kids. And so really in 1 year, people started saying, hey, could you do my Christmas card or, friends of friends. And then it became people I didn't know. And then my girlfriend, Tracy Kropp, said, you should do this as a business. And I said, oh gosh, no, I'm way too shy. And to have somebody to go with people I don't know and then have them judge my work, it just seemed really way outside my box. So, so I started slowly, and then I just got up enough nerve and kind of went to a festival, put my stuff out on a table, and it got big pretty quick. And it was,
so when you say your stuff, like what was your stuff?
Just photos of my daughter and her girlfriends, and just more portraiture. So, and people, I put a little notepad out and said, if you want pictures, well, take your picture, and that's kind of how it started. It was really simple, and it was right at the start of people actually taking outside pictures. I think there were a lot more of established studios. And so I'm a natural light photographer, so I use just available light. I've never used a flash or any kind of lighting like this. So
Okay, awesome. Yeah. So I'm here with Kellee Laser. Yeah. We're going to talk about the Lookbook, which we've got one like right here, which is pretty cool. We'll flash a couple other things of it. But were you trained as a photographer?
I was not. I was supposed to teach high school English. And I actually...
Jesus told you this? No,
that's what I got my degree in.
Oh, okay,
to teach,
got it. All right.
To teach English in high school. And like I said, I became a mom, and that kind of went off that track.
Sure.
But I actually was not even able to pass a photography class in high school or college. I had some learning disabilities and really couldn't. I dropped every photography class that I started until my senior year of college. I had a great photography teacher. He didn't require books, and he didn't require any tests, and it was just your work. So I spent a lot of time in the darkroom. It was film, and loved every minute of it. And so he said, look at Ansel Adams stuff, figure out how he learned how to use a camera. And so basically what he would do is he would get a good recording or a good exposure, figure out what the exposure was, write it down, and then the next time you had that lighting situation, you set your camera to that exposure, and that's kind of how I learned.
Okay.
So I kind of feel through it. I'm very non-technical, but that's kind of how I shoot.
That's super interesting, right? So you didn't have a super formal training.
No, none at all.
On how to do that.
No,
stuff.
I'm told I do it wrong, but it works for me. So.
I mean, the pictures are stunning.
Yeah.
Like,
Thank
and
you.
I'm sure you're told that like literally every time you do
I love
pictures for
it.
somebody.
Yeah. I think, I like to use light. I like color. I like texture. And then obviously I like people's faces. So, and I like to get them really natural.
So but if you were failing classes in high school
I
for
wasn't-
photography,
yes.
then you were interested in, like, so you've always had an interest. Like, this has always been something that's kind of lit your fire a little bit.
I think from a really young age, I studied light. I always was really fascinated with light coming through trees or light coming out a window or how it would hit your face. I was always I just remember that as a kid. And then I always would, see moments and think, gosh, if I just had a camera, if I just knew how to use a camera, wouldn't that be a great picture? I just remember growing up like that. So I was always really fascinated, but just had no idea how to use a camera.
Yeah.
So
now you know how to use a camera.
I do.
But you're just using it wrong.
And I teach it too sometimes.
Oh, you do?
Much more early on in my career, not so much anymore, but I taught how I learned. And people were able to walk out of the class and know how to shoot in manual. So.
Is that how you shoot all the time?
Mm-hmm. It's the only way
So that means you have to dial it in every single time, right? So, like, tell me what the considerations are.
Well,
like, what are you factoring
it's almost
in?
like it's almost like driving a stick shift car. People are always saying you change your light changes all the time, so I'm constantly changing the settings on my camera. I actually don't even realize I'm doing it anymore. So I think when you first start out, you're really thoughtful about it, but I kind of know what works, and the only way I can explain it is I just kind of feel through it.
Is that all lights, or is that colors?
Color
colors
too.
A factor
Color
too,
and just the way the light's hitting it and so forth. Like if you want to make it moody, you can kind of set your camera to you can take the same situation and make it moody or super bright. When you shoot in manual, you have full control of the camera.
Yeah.
So, and there's a lot of photographers now that have taken my class, and so it's kind of nice to see.
That's awesome.
I like to be able to pass that along to people that were, kind of really intimidated by it.
So would you say that one teacher was like the decision could have gone either way, but that one person kind of got into you, and whoosh.
He just told me, you really need to do this. You really need to do this. You got a great eye. And I think that's really, ultimately, you might not, Eric Chanteau is a perfect example of a person that doesn't know how to use a camera, but he's got he works on an iPhone. I didn't know that. He asked me one time, hey, can I come and show up at one of your shoots and see how you shoot? And I said, sure. So I'm expecting him to bring a camera, and he brought his iPhone, and I said, well, where's your camera? And he said, I don't know how to use a camera.
Right.
And he's well known with his work, and he's got a great eye. So as long as you can just learn it, and it's not as hard as people make it to be.
Well,
it really isn't.
yeah, but shutting the automatic thing off,
yes,
is kind of hard.
Well, you can get into trouble.
For people.
Yeah, I've had people call me saying they're shooting a wedding in auto and they got in trouble because then the camera makes the decision for the light, and you're not making this. So your camera might be saying,
and
I have
focus on, right?
Right.
Sometimes.
So yeah, you always want to be in control of your settings.
So you started doing this 13, 14 years ago, and obviously the Lookbook is a new development, but what was the bread and butter at the beginning? Like what was driving the train and having you be able to keep following this kind of passion or dream?
Well, I got divorced about a year after I started the photography business. And I remember my kids and I moved back to California. That's where I'm from. And my dad said, what are you going to do? And to go back and teach, I would have had to go and do another year of student teaching and do all that. And a friend said, you've got something going here. Maybe you should try to commute back to Toledo. And because when I left, I had 15 sessions scheduled already, and it was kind of a abrupt departure to California. So I did that, and I commuted for 4 years, once a month, and would just say, hey, I'm coming on Facebook. I'm coming this weekend. Do you want your picture taken? And Andy Ty and Greg Ty allowed me to stay in their home for 4 years. I had a room in their home.
Wow.
I know, it was really nice.
That's awesome.
Yep. So I would come on a red eye on Thursday, come in Friday morning, shoot Friday afternoon, shoot Saturday afternoon, shoot Sunday morning, and then leave, get home at 1 a.m. in California on Sunday. And I did it for 4 years, once a month. And that allowed me to support my kids. And then I had clients out in California too. So but yeah, this is I did better here than I did in California. I think there's more of an appreciation for photography in the Midwest than there is in out in the coast.
That is super interesting.
Yeah.
So that's a lifestyle. I mean,
It's been
that is a commitment.
I think the biggest, probably the biggest thing I've done with my photography is I went with Beth Doan and Simon Tatum and Zoe Tryon. They did work for Nat Geo and Discovery Channel. I went with them on a job out there to Ecuador for 10 days, 11 days in the Amazon, and I photographed the Kofan tribe, and it was life-changing for me. I was 40. I just had turned 40, and it changed. It gave validation to my work because I got published in Nat Geo, Huffington Post, LA Times Magazine. So that was a big career thing.
It's a big deal.
It was a big deal for me, and being a mother, I mean, I love being a mother, but I'd never really traveled. And I realized that that is really my heart and soul, is to be somewhere there doing that kind of work. And so when my kids go off to college, that's kind of what I'm planning on doing, is taking off and going to, I can't do it with kids being a single mom, but
right. Absolutely.
But yeah, that's kind of my plan B.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds like plan A.
Plan A.
Just a continuation of.
Yes. Just a whole different. I've been invited to go to South Africa and India. I was just invited to go to Uganda a year and a half ago. But being a single mom, and you can't, it's tough to leave your kids and not have that kind of regular communication, and you can die.
Right. It's scary. It's scary out
in
there.
Uganda.
But who invites you to go? Like when you say, I mean, you're saying it pretty casual. Like I was invited to go to Uganda. Like,
well, I think when I went,
nobody's ever invited me to go to Uganda ever.
It's people I met through the first trip.
Yeah.
So it's people, just extended people through them. So they just say, hey, you want to come? And I think with my kind of photography, it's easy to take me because natural light, I don't have a ton of equipment. And it's kind of an easy thing. And I love, especially if it's with kids, I love kids. So it's a pretty easy thing to do.
Yeah. Wow.
So hopefully in a couple of years.
That's really cool.
Yeah. It was great.
Like that's pretty fantastic. Because those are special.
It was life-changing for me.
Yeah, special circumstances. I mean, not everybody gets to do that.
Well, I remember yesterday you had asked me about, do I have any of the other things that I, would want to talk about? And the confidence part of this, that gave me confidence that I didn't even know I had. Right. That truly changed my life, that I did that.
Well, and how long ago was that?
That was in 2010.
Okay.
So. But it definitely.
Yeah, it probably came at the perfect time.
It did. It was.
You get that shot in the arm, and then you get to go do.
A lot of shots.
Yeah, because if we fast forward, I mean, tell me about the Lookbook, because I've never seen anything like it, and I don't know if there's anything like it. Obviously, locally, there's not. Mm-mm. But is this you like? Hey, I kind of stole this idea from somebody in,
Sure.
How did that come about? And tell us as much as you can about it, because it's really cool.
Yeah. Well, my parents, they live out in Laguna, and so they have a book that's delivered to their house. It's called Orange Coast Magazine. It's a regular magazine. And it's super high end, and they always save it for me when I come to visit. And I just kind of like just look through it. It's like a lookbook. Just look through it. The ads are beautiful. Most of the companies out there, because it's pretty, where that is, it's affluent. These photographers have just made these beautiful ads. They're very editorial looking. And I've just always, probably for the last 10 years, every time I go out there, I just look through it and I'm like, we really need something like that in Toledo. I think, especially, and I think in the last 5 years, downtown Toledo has changed so much. I mean, we're really adding on and I guess becoming more current. That's what it kind of feels like. Yeah. Whether that's politically correct to say or not, I don't know.
Yeah, no,
I feel like there's been just a huge movement. And so about 2 years ago, it really was the memories on my Facebook page just came, and I remember I'd put the first post out like, hey, if you have a storefront or if you like kids and dogs and you have a business, because those are kind of my people, let me know. And so I think within 48 hours, I had 20 people committed to this project. And then I really wanted 40. That was kind of my goal. Mm-hmm. And so I think I approached you. Yeah. I basically just made up ads that I thought would be, so I do all the photography for the ads and design them and come up with little taglines. And then I just kind of peddled that to different people like, hey, your ad could look like this. Yeah. So, because it was really just not having anything to show them outside of just, a copied piece of paper.
Yeah.
So that's kind of that's how it started.
That's cool. So you just created it. And the Facebook, like having the social media
is
to
huge.
be able to like reach that many people that quickly is like, oh, and then, hey, message me or however, whatever the process is from there.
I have some great, Andy Greer he's my realtor. He was one of the first people like, I don't even know what you're doing, but I'm in. Yeah, I'll sign on. So I had some people like that, and I have amazing clients. I mean, the one thing that I really love about my business are the clients, and especially in the Midwest. They treat you like family. I mean, there's families that I photographed year after. I mean, I've watched them from they were newborns and now they're 14 years old every year. So it's very special.
Well, we were talking, as you came in, because you have something in this little pile, and it's really funny because it definitely caught me off guard. There's like a couple pictures, and
I
one of
pulled
them is my Brody.
Yep.
And me with hair. So
this was in 2009.
It exists.
Yeah,
like the pictures of me with hair exist.
Yep, this was 2009.
It's kind of funny to think of that.
And
I was also that's me.
Face.
Yeah, that's little Brody, who's now bigger than me, by the way. At 13 years old, he's wearing like a size 12 shoe, and
that's what they do. They grow.
He's it's quite a change there, but that's funny. That's good. Like, there's not a lot of pictures of me with hair. And I was also, that was me in like stage 2 of the recovering fat guy thing.
Oh, stop.
So I was like, that's probably, at one point I was like, gosh, I guess it'd be like 65, 70 pounds heavier than I am now.
No.
And full head of hair and a real chicken wing habit. Like it was serious, like chicken wings and ice cream. I was very committed to those things at that point.
So funny.
But,
I was wondering, I never remember, the interesting thing, I have a terrible memory. So I always remember children. I was in Florida a couple of years ago and I saw this kid run across, we were in a kind of a bar restaurant, and I see this kid and I'm like, I know that kid. And it was one of my clients, but the parents came up to me and I was like, have no idea who these people are.
Yeah.
Just know the kid.
Right.
So when I went to look for your pictures, I was surprised to see those because I don't remember you being there at my photograph, but I remember those pictures of Brody very clearly. So it seems like
it's
yesterday.
Funny. Well, that's your magic, right? Like dogs and kids.
Dogs and kids, slobber sessions and kid sessions. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and anybody that doesn't like dogs, I mean,
you gotta question that.
Yeah,
you gotta
really?
worry about
like.
them.
There's not a lot of people that
keep your eye on them.
That like that's a good filter.
Right. You guys had, I think, boxers.
Yes.
Yes.
We had boxers at the time.
Love boxers.
Yeah, the boxers were great.
They're the best.
They were great.
Yeah.
Dogs. Absolutely. So before we jump to the next subject, but if somebody wanted to track you down, and we'll put a couple of links in here so they can find you.
Yeah.
But like, who's the ideal person to be in this? Like, what's this? Tell us a little bit more about when you're kind of pitching the idea, like, hey, this is what we're doing and we're dressing it up. I know that's a big part of it because they're all like really, really awesome pictures. Like it's not like you're just throwing a picture they already had in there.
Right.
It's all unique stuff that's really cool.
Well, that's what I really wanted to avoid with this book. You see so much in the publications like a business card.
Yeah.
I remember advertising a long time when I first started, and it was a business card. It was all I could afford. And so I did want to make something affordable as well, because I think we really do have some beautiful small businesses here. I mean, and I've always believed that especially where we live, I think Toledo's a really special place. I say it over and over again. If you treat people well here, they'll treat you equally back as well.
Yeah.
And they support each other. And I've just seen that, I mean, over and over, especially during COVID. I mean, the way people showed up for small businesses, and it's a special place. So I think that the people that I really approached were more of like the mom and pop initially, because I knew that they probably couldn't afford big advertising in some of the other publications here.
Yeah.
So a lot of those people went in initially, and then I remember, I think it was the second issue or maybe the third issue, Buckeye approached me and said, "Hey, we saw your we saw your book at Fowl and Fodder downtown. We'd like to talk to you." And I thought, wow, maybe I've made it. It's like this big, this bigger company. And then, ProMedica's come in. And so there's been some big companies that are coming in, but the book is really for, I think, smaller businesses, people
awesome.
that want to, that have and I love there's, if they have a story, I think that makes it even better.
Yeah.
So
And everybody's got a story.
everybody
Like,
has
really,
a story
all the-
here.
all-
How they
all this-
started.
yeah, it's never
Sure.
easy. Like this past year's the perfect example of like you get thrown a curveball and
Big
you know,
curveball. That was terrifying.
It's
yeah.
terrifying. Like at one point, people are thinking, you know, am I going to live through this? And people have lost family members. I've lost family members.
yes.
Like it's real.
It's been a real thing.
know.
So, but people hung in there. I was not sure. The book came out. The last spring summer issue came out in April. So I wasn't. You know, I'm like I might not have a book. And
Right.
everybody came through and hung in there with me, and we made it work. And then the next book was this issue was probably the largest issue. So, and then this is the newest cover.
Oh,
so
yeah.
if you guys want to look at this.
Awesome. For sure.
Yeah. The next issue will be much larger than even, it's just growing.
So are these all the pictures in here, are these your original ideas conceptually, or is it like, hey, I'm Dan, I own the business and this is what I'm thinking? Or is it a collaboration? How does all that work?
You know, the bigger businesses, they obviously have a marketing department, and I'm happy to use, you know,
Yeah.
like, please.
Sure.
It saves some time for me. But some people, you know, some businesses, I kind of see it, and then sometimes I'll just make up an ad. I still do that. I still will make up an ad and say, hey, what do you think about this? Other times people feel very strongly about what they want, and I try to respect that. And, you know, there's a standard that I set. And so, you know, we usually meet in the middle with that. So you know, high resolution is important. Something off your cell phone is not going to work.
Right.
I want to maintain a certain aesthetic and
Sure.
quality,
And they probably wouldn't argue with that.
they haven't.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't think. Like,
No,
hey, I
they've
need this to
trusted
be a
me.
certain high level of quality. Like that seems like that'd be a pretty fair. Everybody wins.
Yeah, well,
that.
it was funny because you had Carrie Suey on here, and
Yeah.
so this particular, she was in. Let's see, I don't know if I can find her. She was in we did 2 ads for her, 2 pictures for her, and she didn't like one of the pictures, and we went back and forth for about 3 weeks. And the night before this was going to print, I called her at home. It was probably 10 o'clock at night, and I said, "Hey, it's going to print tomorrow. Are we going to use this other picture or not?" And she's like, "I don't know. I said, you need to make a decision." And she's like, "What do you think?" I said, "I think you should use it." And so about a few weeks later, somebody had purchased the whole outfit that she had worn in the ad that she didn't want, and
Yeah.
she's like, "Okay, I trust you from now on. I trust you."
It's hard
So
though.
it is. Well,
know?
to look at, I don't like being on camera at all, and most people that know me, I get very sweaty, and you know, I don't like being on camera. So
Yeah.
it's a huge. I respect and appreciate so much that people let me get in front of them and take their picture, because it is nerve-wracking, and I understand that more than anybody.
Right. Well, and
So
I can
it's-
imagine for Carrie, who's like she's like you, like she's a creative. Like that's not really who I am. So it's easy for me to like toss the keys to the car to somebody and say,
Right.
"Hey, you're
You-
better at this."
Right.
But that's like in her wheelhouse.
That is-
So
yes.
her wheelhouse, your wheelhouse.
We have to.
like,
Yeah, it was
you
a little
kinda
bit of
gotta
a
mingle a little bit. and
Yep, but-
tangle it up a little bit, which is
but-
fun.
Yeah, she's fun to
Yeah,
photograph.
she's
really
pretty
fun
awesome.
to photograph.
Yeah, she's
she's
very
up for
talented.
anything. I'm like,
Yeah.
"Can you climb onto a roof?" She's like, "I'll do it."
Yeah. Yeah.
So-
she's cool for sure.
Yeah.
So so it's each one of these pictures and we'll flash a few of
Yeah.
them here.
Sure, I'll
But
show ya.
each one of these pictures is got like the range is pretty immense, like with what you
So
have.
here's Valentine. I think most people.
Yeah,
Here's
sure.
Valentine. This is one probably we did Mancy's. I love this one. It's kind of
Yeah.
super fun. I'll do one more. Let's see. Find. This was. It's right in the middle. This was for Lexus.
Yeah.
So that was fun. So yeah.
So that you took that picture.
I took that picture.
That's pretty awesome. Because
Yes.
that doesn't really look like I'm thinking, oh, Lexus had that somewhere in the.
Nope, I
But
did.
that's you.
I did that. Yeah, it was that was probably one of the harder ads, just because we had to get the cars there, more the logistics, trying to
Yeah.
get a hold of these people. Like, hey, can I come onto your property, and can you move all your cars so I can bring 2 more cars?
Right, yeah.
So yeah, there were some logistics there.
Yeah,
but,
that's
But I
fun.
like the way it turned out. It was fun.
Yeah.
It's fun. It is really fun to create the ads.
Well, it's cool that like it's really neat whenever you take somebody and like you going to work is not you going to work. It's what I tell people that like pretty much every day I'm talking about that.
Right.
Oh gosh, I don't want to have to keep you. Oh, I know you. Yeah. Guess what? Like this isn't work to me.
Right.
So
Right.
like you don't have to feel bad. Like it's going to be okay.
Right.
This isn't work. This is fun.
Right.
It's really, really cool to see somebody just get to do what they like to do anyways.
Yes.
And make a career out of it. And then, I mean, how much fun is that? Like just looking at it's cool.
It's fun once I pick it up from the printer.
Yeah.
About
Probably
a week
some
before.
stress before that.
A week before, sometimes I'm thinking, I don't know that this is going to get done. It almost seems like the final touches of it actually takes longer than actually putting the book together. There's just so much to it, and I'm a little bit of a perfectionist, and so
I would think.
Yeah, so I at some point I need to say, okay, I'm done. Like I'm done, because I could probably spend another week
Sure.
still working on it, but it needs to go to the printer. So
Absolutely.
yeah,
That's awesome. So having the confidence to start this thing in the first place, like going the route of California back to Toledo, super interesting, back to Toledo, back and forth to California, and then doing that, and then launching to this. Like, is this like, what's the driving force? Is it to make this thing really big, or is there something else on the back burner? Is there something simmering that we should hear about, or what are your plans?
I'm going to keep with this. I've got a junior and a sophomore, so we're going to be doing this through their graduation.
Yep.
And then, we'll see. I mean, I would love, the book that my parents get is about an inch thick. So, I mean, that would be amazing to get to that level. It is affordable. So I think it's very plausible that could happen. But that's kind of my goal. The book also, which is important to me, the underlying theme is gratitude, random acts of kindness, giving back. That's one thing that you'll see throughout the book. Just little hints of it. I think it's important, and it's a pretty neutral book. We'll always keep it really neutral, but it's also intimate. There's some intimate things that I probably will share about my life, or other people share about their lives. I think that's why people like it, is because it's very personal.
It kind of comes to life.
Yes. Yeah, Toledo comes through
does,
for
like
sure. The special part of it.
The people, the colors, the animals, the little people.
Yes.
Like it all kind of like
yes.
it's neat that you see something, because you don't really like it really is unique. Like people need to check it out, because it's really, really unique to be able to find this thing and have something that kind of comes to life like that.
Well, it's been going to, I have a whole list, and if they go to my link, they can find where you can find it. But the one thing that we did do is we started dropping it off to neighborhoods in Perrysburg and in Otto Hills and in Sylvania. And there was a lot of feedback in doing so. So we might do a lot more of that.
Yeah.
So if people have neighborhoods that they want it delivered to, I would be happy to.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
Yeah, I like the feedback that we've gotten.
Yeah.
With that.
I can't imagine. I mean, it's got to be.
They
all
go
good.
really quick. When they're dropped off, people, QQ Kitchen, they're not in the book, but they kind of have a cult following, and sometimes they'll call me on a Thursday night.
It's real good.
It is really good.
By the way.
And on Friday night is probably their biggest rush, because they're closed for the weekend. And so sometimes they'll call me like, can we get some more books? Because people take them when they're waiting in line. And so, they go pretty quick.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Anything else we should be talking about?
I don't think so.
Just like that.
Yeah, just like that.
That's so cool. I had no idea you were going to have those like pictures of Brody. I'm just thinking of this kid and how big he is now. And I'm like, wow.
I know.
And it's always good to see me with hair.
It is always good to see.
A couple times in the last couple of years, I've tried to grow it back out. It just hasn't.
No.
Now I realize why I shaved it off.
No, shave it.
No question.
Yeah,
we're leaving it right where it is.
Yeah.
So,
no.
Anyways, I appreciate your time.
Thank
I know
you
you're really busy.
for letting me come and talk about it. I appreciate it.
Thanks a lot.
Okay.
Good.
I was gonna share this story, but about, it was probably.
We can turn it back on.
No, it's okay.
We're still running.
Oh, you are?
Yeah. Right?
Okay. Well, so to your point about doing it wrong, it was probably about 6 years ago. There's a couple photographers that started this women's group of photographers on the internet. There's, obviously, there's a huge community of photographers. And so basically you would submit your website, and then they would either call you and say, yeah, you can be a mentor with us. And it was prestigious to be a part of it. And so I submitted it, and I got this rejection letter, and I was like, really? Like, I got a rejection letter. And they said to me, the criticism was, and it took me about 3 months to actually hear this. And I'm very open to criticism, but, obviously I'm sensitive too, so my feelings were hurt. But when I actually was able to receive their input was, you're playing it too safe. And that was the best thing too for the direction that I went in, because I did change up things. I really did hear them, and my stuff did look very much the same, probably for the first 5 or 6 years. Mm-hmm. And since then, I've really tried to kind of push the envelope, which allows me probably to do more of that now than before.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's fun.
It was hard to hear, but
yeah, well,
but it was good. It was the best thing they could have said to me.
Right. It's tough because sometimes you hear those things, and you're like, screw that. That's not who I am. This is who I am.
Right.
And then other times it's really good
to hear
those things and to say, hey, I'm going to evolve a little bit.
Yes.
Always
because push. I think you should always push, and it's good. And that's a good thing to tell people. And they said it very nicely, so I was able to receive it. But it was probably the best things I've heard about my work was, you're playing it too safe. Yeah. And I would say that to any photographer. If you get kind of in a, this safe mode, always try to push outside your boundaries.
I think you could say that for any business.
Probably
owner.
For any business.
Truthfully, when I think about what my objectives were when I came into this business, I was like, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to be so great at this, and here's the bar. And then I'm like, wait a minute.
Sure.
I'm 40, and I already did all the things that were my big aspirations. I've got another 30 years
30
in this.
Good years.
I got to set higher goals. I have to set I have to be a little more, I don't know if outrageous is the word, but
courageous.
Courageous. That's a way better word.
It's a way better word.
But to aim higher and to take a little more risk and take a little more chances and behave like you can't fail, because even if you fail, who cares? Nobody really cares.
Oh, it doesn't. Yeah.
It doesn't matter. You learn something.
You
go.
To me, I think that's a success in some way, is if you can fall flat on your face, which I have many a time.
Me too.
It actually, to me, and I think you have to have a certain personality to fail and accept it, but to kind of say, okay, well, I'm going to just watch me. I'm going to make it better next time.
Yeah. I think it's good to prove them wrong. Right. But it's also good to show your kids that you can get kicked in the gut once in a while and still be able to recover and get back up and be able to go do it.
Right.
That's a really good thing.
Yeah. My kids have said that they are really proud of me.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's probably the best thing that
that's the best compliment. I know. It's such a big deal. So awesome.
Yeah.
Well, really enjoyed it. Great work.
And cut.
DeVerna offers products and services using the following business names: Creative Financial Partners, Insurance and Financial Services, Emeritus Investment Company, LLC, AIC, member FINRA, SIPC, Security Investments, Emeritus Advisory Services, AAS Investment Advisory Services. AIC and AAS are not affiliated with Creative Financial Partners. Products and services are limited to residents of states where the representative is registered. This is not an offer of securities in any jurisdiction, nor is it specifically directed to a resident of any jurisdiction. As with any security request and prospectus from a representative, read carefully before you invest or send money. A representative will contact you to provide requested information. Representatives of AIC and AAS do not provide legal or tax advice. Please consult your tax advisor or attorney regarding the situation.
Thanks for watching.